नमस्कार, प्रोफेसर ऋषिपाल जी। इस 5 दिवसीय 5 डेज फैकल्टी डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम के कन्वीनर हमारे बीच हैं। आज के एमिनेंट स्पीकर प्रोफेसर वीके नानगिया जी हमारे बीच पहुंच चुके हैं। मेरा आईटी टीम से आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट आईटी टीम टू मेक को होस्ट टू ऑल द मेंबर्स। फाइव डे वर्कशॉप के सेशन 3 में हम आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करते हैं। I would like to invite again everyone in the 3rd session of a 5-day workshop. Today's session speaker will be Professor Vinay Nangia ji. He has been former professor IIT Roorkee, an eminent academician. And the session's topic will be challenges and problems in academic administration. So now I would like to request Ms. Pallavi, Assistant Professor CRSU, Jean, to introduce, have a formal introduction of our speaker today with all the participants. Sir, I would like to request that as this program is covered throughout India and the participants are from different states, including the southern states of India, and we would like to request everyone to just see that these people, the participants from India, have a little difficulty in understanding English. So we would like to request if we can keep the communication language as English. Thank you. Dr. Pallavi.
Thank you, Chanchal ma'am. Thank you. Today we have our esteemed resource person for session 3 of the FDP, Professor Dr. Vinay Kumar Nangia ji. Sir is a distinguished alumnus of Banaras Hindu University and holds 40 years of managerial experience, including at senior and top levels in India and overseas in banking, industry, and education. Sir has multifunctional expertise in banking, finance, general management, education, and institute building. He has held the position of Head of Department in IIT Roorkee thrice, Emeritus Professor at NSUT Dwarka, New Delhi, Managing Director and CEO of an investment and finance company in Mumbai, Senior Vice President at SR Group in Mumbai, Group Director at a large business and industrial house at Lagos, Nigeria, and an international banker at Singapore. Sir is a member of various bodies and boards of several academic and other institutions in the likes of International Telecommunication Union Switzerland, Knowledge Management of Asian Productivity Organization Tokyo, Knowledge Management Panel and Corporate Governance Panel of Bureau of Indian Standards, Council of Management of All India Management Association, and Innovation Council of MSME and Initiative of Prime Minister of India. Sir has guided many PhD scholars and has written books like Masters Speak and Driven by Information Technology, Smart Banking. He has been honored with Man of Excellence Award in 2022, Glory of India Award 2017, Lifetime Achievement Award in Business Education Award in 2015, Shikshan Ratan Puraskar 2014, Devang Mehta Business School Award for being Best Professor in General Management in 2013. And above all, it can be very rightly said for the sir that he is a teacher, a trainer, an advisor, a consultant, and a mentor to all his students. So I welcome you on this platform and hand over this virtual session to you now.
Thank you very much, Pallavi, for a very elaborate introduction. I don't know from where to start. Can we go through the quiz which I had given? Can that be shared? Is Dr. Mohit there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah, Dr. Mohit, can you share the quiz I had given? I think we can start from there.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Window quiz. Yes. Is it visible, sir?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's visible.
Can somebody read it out? Well, friends, I think I'm starting on basically, I'm dividing my talk into three parts. The first part is general awareness about education sector in general, and I think all of us belong to higher education institutions, so we got to know something about that. That is one part. The second part is generally talking about leadership, governance, issues, challenges, etc. And third part is we are going to have interaction, discussing our own problems. Okay. So please feel free to stop me at any point of time for any discussion, and any one of you can interrupt and ask me at any point of time. Dr. Mohit, would you be reading it, or can you request somebody else to read it for you?
Sir, मैं read कर देता हूँ.
जी, thank you.
Okay, so quiz first is which is the oldest living and operational university? When was it found and where is it located? So this is the first question.
Can any of the participants answer this question? Please unmute yourself and respond. I'm not able to see a single face.
So participants are responding through chats, I think, through chat box.
I don't know. Why don't you give them permission to open up and talk so that we can talk, no? I had requested Dr. Chanchal to allow people to talk. Otherwise,
I think the team is permitting all, sir. All participants are requested, when they get the permission, to please share their videos so that it can be an interactive session.
Yeah, I think we'll have to.
All have been given permission to unmute themselves and to share their videos also.
Yeah.
The participants are requested to unmute whenever they need and to share their videos.
If you unmute, it will be, nobody can hear.
I think it is Nalanda, sir. And University of India. Sir, University of Calcutta. Sir,
No.
University of Calcutta.
this is oldest living and operational university. India is
Operational university. It is in
India is not written.
Calcutta, University of Calcutta, founded in 1857.
Please read the question again.
Which is the oldest living and operational university? When was it found and where it is located? It is located in Kolkata. University of Calcutta, founded in 1857, sir. Operational.
We are not talking about Indian
operational.
universities here. Anybody else? Anyone else? All right, we go to question number 2. When was University of Oxford established? Mohitji, I think you read out, nobody is responding, so this is surprising. Please read out the questions.
So second is, when was University of Oxford established? The third one is, which is the oldest university of USA? The fourth one, which are the oldest operational universities of India? When were these universities founded? And the last one is, which is the oldest university of Uttar Pradesh?
So if anybody would like to respond to any of the questions here, most welcome.
Answer the first one is University of Bologna, Italy.
You are right and you are not right, both. I appreciate what you're telling because many people think that is the first university, many people think that is the second university. So there's a bit of debate on that.
Right.
Yeah. Any other quiz points anybody would like to respond to?
The oldest university of Uttar Pradesh is Allahabad Central University.
Oh,
Sir, Uttar Pradesh oldest university is Benares Hindu University.
which one you said?
Benares Hindu
The last
University.
one.
BHU.
I think who's the lady who's talking? I mean, I'm not able to see.
Sir Aishwarya.
Aishwarya, you are right and wrong both. What did you say?
So the oldest university of Uttar Pradesh is Allahabad University, Allahabad Central University.
Now, Allahabad is right, but Allahabad Central is not right. Because Central it became recently. Okay.
The oldest university in US is Harvard.
Yeah, that's right. That's Harvard. That's right. Okay, we go to the second slide. Yes. Can you read it out, please?
Oldest university of India is
First-
Takshashila.
Mohiti, can you read out, please?
Yes, sir. Which are the oldest central universities of India? Which years they were founded? Second is, which is the oldest technical university of India? Third, which is the first? What is the total number of universities in India? And the last one, what is the total number of teachers and students in higher education in India?
Will anybody like to answer? Anybody like to respond to this? Any of these items?
Answer the first one is Serampore University.
I think somebody needs to mute.
The oldest central university in India is Serampore.
Serampore is not Central University.
Technical University is Roorkee, sir.
Roorkee is also not Central University.
Sir, Aligarh Muslim
Takshashila?
University.
Aligarh Muslim University, which year?
So maybe 1920. I don't exactly remember the year. It's 1920.
Aligarh is 1920. You're right. Which are the other ones? Banaras Hindu University, BHU is
Yeah,
1960.
Banaras Hindu University is also in the
1916. Aligarh Muslim University is 1920.
So Central University of Haryana.
No, these are
Kashmir.
very new. These are very new. And then Delhi University. This is 1923. Madam Mosmi, can you mute yourself? Somebody said Takshila. Takshila is neither central nor currently there.
The Jamia is also one of the oldest universities.
Jamia is old, but not very old.
Madras University, sir?
Which one?
Madras University?
Yes, but that's not Central University.
So
Which is the oldest technical university in our country?
Roorkee, sir.
Which
Anna
year?
University?
No, Roorkee University, 1948. Then which is the first college in India to start graduate program in commerce? Anybody from Maharashtra?
चलिए बढ़िया है, बहुत बढ़िया उपलब्धि है। अच्छा मैं कह रहा था ना व्हाट्सएप किया है मनीष गुप्ता जी ने किया था।
Anyone from Maharashtra?
तो उसमें क्या करना है? दूसरी तरीके से हम लोग नहीं ये
This is Sydenham College in Mumbai. We started the first graduate program in commerce, BCom, in our country. Mohit, can we go to the next one? I think we'll go quickly over these things.
Sure, sir.
Next one.
What is the
Next one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This one, sir.
Next one. Yeah. Can somebody read it out? Aishwarya, can you read out, please?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah.
Which is the oldest living and operational university? When was it founded and where is it located?
You're so studious, ma'am. That's why you came like a.
Mohitji, are we serious about what this session is going about? I don't think anything is happening here except getting noises.
Sir.
The University of Al-Quara.
Aishwarya was speaking out, then again disturbances are coming. I don't know what's happening.
I suppose, sir, some technical issues maybe. I don't know, but
I really don't know. Can you read out, please?
sure, sir. So, which is the oldest living and operational university? When was it founded and where is it located? So, it is the University of, I think, Al-Quara Queen, name given in 1963. Founded in Morocco by Fatima al-Firhi in 859. Originally, it was madrasa giving religious teachings.
So in fact, in the earlier days, it was religion, politics, and education were all interconnected, and that is how the universities were started way back. And this one you're seeing started as a madrasa, and then later got converted into a university. It got its name in 1963, and currently it is the oldest living operational university in the world. It is in Morocco. So some people think it is not this university, but they think it is University of Bologna in Italy. So that was 1050 something it was established. Next slide, please. Yeah.
So next is, when was University of Oxford established? The University of Bologna in Italy is oldest in Europe and was founded in 1088. University of Oxford was established during 1096 to 1167. University of Cambridge was founded in 1209 and received royal charter in 1231. University of Paris was established during 1160 to 1250.
So what you notice here is in almost every case, should I speak now?
Yes, sir.
So universities were set up in a particular year, but they were set up generally under trust or in whatever format. But when they got the charter, that is the date when they are supposed to have been established. So that is where you are seeing 2 years in case of almost every university. So the date of, for example, Paris University was set up in 1160, but it got charter in 1250. So the same thing is true of Oxford. Mohiji, I don't know whether I should continue. This is the first time I'm seeing this kind of behavior and activity.
All participants are requested to please only unmute their system when they would like to interact with the eminent speaker. IT team, I would like to request you to please mute all the participants and only unmute on their request only. The participants are requested again that this unmute facility was given just to make it interactive and you have your involvement in this session. IT team, it is requested to please mute your other participant and only unmute whenever they raise their hands.
Should I start, madam?
Sir, please, just a minute. Yes, sir, please. Dr. Mohit? Assist, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Chanchal, should I start now?
कर सकते हैं सर.
Please, sir.
Sorry.
You can start, sir.
So the universities in the past were, you can see two dates. One date is when they are established. Second date is when they got the charter. Charter means they can grant a degree. So that is the scenario. Next slide, please.
Which is the oldest university of USA? So it is Harvard University. Benefactor John Harvard is the oldest university of USA, established in 1636 to 38 and chartered in 1650. About 37.6 billion US dollar makes it the largest academic endowment in the world and remains far above the next two, which are Yale University and University of Texas.
Now, Harvard University is known for three disciplines to be the best in the world. One is management, Harvard Business School. Another is law, Harvard Law School, and the third is medicine. All the three, their methodology is established as a example to be followed by others, because they have been teaching by what is called case study method. So Harvard is the leader in at least these three disciplines across the world. Next slide. Yeah.
Which are the oldest operational universities of India? When were these universities founded? So first is University of Calcutta, was founded on January 24, 1857. Originally adopted pattern of University of London. First Vice Chancellor James W.M. Colville. University of Bombay, July 18, 1857. First Vice Chancellor John Wilson. And third is University of Madras, September 5, 1857. First Vice Chancellor Sir Christopher Rawlinson.
Now this is interesting. All the three were presidency towns. So Calcutta was Bengal presidency, and then Bombay presidency, then Madras presidency. And the presidency meant wherever the East India Company or Britishers ruled directly. So that's the reason you are seeing these as the first three universities established in India. And interestingly, none of these three got converted into a central university. They remain state universities. So that's it. Next.
So University of Calcutta, informally known as Calcutta University, CU, established on 24th January 1857. One of the first institutions in NCR to be established as multidisciplinary and Western style university. The university has a total of 14 campuses spread over the city of Kolkata and its suburb. As of 2012, 136 colleges are affiliated to it. NIRF ranked 11 in 2020 in overall institutions and 7 amongst universities. 5 Nobel laureates associated with this university: Ronald Ross, Ravindranath Tagore, C.V. Raman, Amar Sen, Abhijit Vinayak Banerjee.
So what is very interesting is if you go to the website of Calcutta University, please go to a title called jurisdiction. And this is hilarious. Right up to Lahore, the colleges were covered under Calcutta. So whether you were studying in Dehradun or you were studying in Amritsar or you were studying in Lahore, that was within the within the degree granting range of Calcutta University. Obviously, over a period of time, the jurisdiction got it was shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Next.
University of Mumbai. University of Mumbai was established in 1857. Mumbai University MU, formerly known as University of Bombay, is a collegiate public state university located in Mumbai, Maharashtra. It has 2 campuses across Mumbai, Kalina campus and Fort campus, and 2 outside Mumbai, one of them being Thane sub-campus. It is one of the largest universities in the world. The university in 2013 had 711 affiliated colleges. The Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies was established in 1965 in collaboration with Stanford Graduate School of Business of Stanford University. John Mathai was the Vice Chancellor from 1955 to 1957.
Now, this is very interesting that this particular university was approached for the first time for setting up what finally turned out to be IIM. So when this university vice chancellor was approached, he did not want to allow a business school to be autonomous. And that is how this got shifted to Ahmedabad and Calcutta and not Bombay. So 1961, 1962, IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Calcutta were opened, whereas Bombay got delayed by 1965. And whereas IIM Ahmedabad is with Harvard collaboration, and MIT Sloan has collaboration with IIM Calcutta. So Stanford had collaboration with Jamnalal Bajaj Institute. The last line where you are reading John Mathai, this is very interesting. This John Mathai was a finance minister in the first cabinet of Pandit Nehru after independent India. And he had differences with Pandit Nehru, so he resigned. Later, he became vice chancellor of this university. And his son, Ravi Mathai, was the first CEO or first director of IIM Ahmedabad. And Ravi Mathai's cousin, B.G. Varghese, was the gentleman who started this Anand movement, this Amul movement. So B.G. Varghese was cousin of Ravi Mathai. Ravi Mathai was son of John Mathai. John Mathai was in the first cabinet of Pandit Nehru. There's a very interesting background to this. Next slide, please.
University of Madras, established in 1857. University of Madras or Madras University is a public state university in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, collegiate research university with 6 campuses in the city. Offers more than 230 courses under 87 academic departments of postgraduate teaching and research grouped 18 schools, along with 121 affiliated colleges and 53 approved research institutions. Alma mater includes 2 Indian physics Nobel laureates, C.V. Raman and Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, 5 presidents of India, including APJ Abdul Kalam, and several notable mathematicians, including Srinivasan Ramanujan.
Next.
Which is the oldest university of Uttar Pradesh? University of Allahabad was founded on September 23rd, 1887, Oxford of the East. Alumni included 1 president and 2 vice presidents of India, 2 former prime ministers. Punjab University was established in 1882 as University of Punjab at Lahore, now in Pakistan.
Now, this is very interesting. After 1857, when the first 3 universities were set up in Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras, the 4th one established was Punjab University. And this university was established in Lahore. And the spelling of Punjab, if you read, it is P-A-N-J-A-B, not P-U-N. And this Punjab University subsequently moved to Chandigarh via Shimla in India. So you may call it as 4th university, or you may call Allahabad University as 4th university set up in India. So that is how the evolution of universities has taken place in India. Punjab University also has another very interesting and different feature. This is the only state government university where the chancellor is not the governor of the state, but in this case, it is the vice president of India, which is a very different thing, which is not the case in any other state university. Next.
Which are the oldest central universities of India? Which years they were founded? So first one is Banaras Hindu University in 1916, Pandit Madan Mohan Malviji. Second is Aligarh Muslim University in 1920, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. And third is University of Delhi in 1922.
Now, all these universities are formed by conversion of, in the case of Banaras Hindu University, Central Hindu College got converted into university, and likewise Syed College got converted into Aligarh Muslim University, and likewise in University of Delhi, and not only Delhi, Calcutta, Bombay, Madras. It was merger of few colleges which were already existing. Next. Yeah, you can just stop here. Okay, carry on with this.
Banaras Hindu University and University of Mysore were both set up in 1916, and Patna University was established in 1917. In 1918, Osmania University was established. Aligarh Muslim University was founded in 1920. 1921 was the setting up of 3 more universities, that is Mahatma Gandhi Kasi Vidyapeeth in Varanasi, University of Lucknow, and Vishwa Bharati University. University of Delhi is established in 1922, Nagpur University in 1923, Andhra University in 1926, and Agra University now, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, were founded in 1927. Annamalai University was set up in 1929.
Next.
Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University had 1,051 affiliated colleges in 2017, 842 colleges with Nagpur University, 172 colleges with University of Lucknow. Andhra University is not just one of the oldest educational institute in the country, but it is also the first to be conceived as a residential and teaching cum affiliating university, mainly devoted to postgraduate teaching and research.
Why I'm talking about these affiliated colleges and all this is because these are the issues, these are the problems, these are the challenges which we are going to be discussing very shortly. Next slide, please.
In May 1951, Vishwa Bharati was declared to be a central university and an institution of national importance by an act of parliament. It was granted the status of a unitary teaching and residential university. Jamia Millia Islamia, an organization originally established at Aligarh in United Provinces, India in 1920, became a central university by an act of the Indian Parliament in 1988. In Urdu language, Jamia means university and Millia means national.
Next.
Which is the first college in India to start graduate program in commerce? Which year? So Sidham College.
Sydenham
College, Bombay, now. Okay, so Bombay, now Mumbai. The first college of commerce in Asia was established in October 1913.
Next. Yeah.
What is the total number of universities in India? There are 1,043 universities, 42,343 colleges, and 11,779 stand-alone institutions. 396 universities are privately managed. 420 universities are located in rural areas. There are 522 general, 177 technical, 63 agriculture and allied, 66 medical, 23 law, 12 Sanskrit and 11 language universities, and rest 145 universities are of other categories.
Yeah, next please.
What is the total number of teachers and students in higher education in India? The total number of teachers is 15,03,156, out of which about 57.5% are male teachers and 42.5 are female teachers. Total student enrollment in higher education has been estimated to be 38.5 million, with 19.6 million boys and 18.9 million female. Female constitutes 49% of total enrollment. 38,986 students were awarded PhD level degree during 2019, with 11,577 male and 17,409 female.
Next.
Quotes on
Now,
education.
I think this people can read. Now I want to know from the participants, what is the difference between school education and higher education? What is the difference in school education and higher education? Yeah, Dr. Priyanka Sharma, please. Can IT team please allow them to speak?
Sir, in school education, like we usually control the students more, and in higher education, students are more free, and they are like they can refer n numbers of books. They are free to express their knowledge, and school education is more controlled, basically, more curriculum based.
Anybody else? You see, at the school level, you start with numerical ability and foundational literacy, A, B, C, D, etc. And as you grow, you develop into various perspective of different subjects. As you grow higher, the number of subjects gets reduced and the specialization gets increased. In higher education, what happens? In higher education, two things happen. One is specialization takes place. And the basic difference between school education and higher education is, in the school education, it is dissemination of knowledge. It is dissemination of knowledge. It is imparting of knowledge. Whereas in higher education, it is creation of knowledge. So when you do research, you are creating new knowledge. That is what is higher education. So that is the difference between a school education and higher education in a very, very broad perspective. Another question which is very important, which I would like to ask you people, what is the difference between academics and education? Any of the participants, what is the difference between academics and education?
IT team to unmute Ms. Aishwarya Gupta.
Your voice is not coming. Can you speak loudly?
Sir,
yeah.
If I talk about academic qualification, it just involves the theoretical part of, understanding something. Whereas if I'm talking about educational qualification, it includes the academic part plus the practical part in the professional qualification.
I'm not asking the word qualification. I'm just asking the difference between academics and education. Okay. So what is the difference in academics and education?
In academics, we specifically stick on to the syllabus which has been prescribed by the universities. And in academic and in education, probably value addition happens to the students more often along with the faculties or mentors.
Yeah, you are right. In case of academics, it is course curriculum, it is syllabus, It is workshops, seminars, conferences, research papers, publications. That is what is academics. And education by itself is a holistic system. The education will start from admissions, enrollment, to hostels, to sports, to examination, to result, to degree, to convocation, to migration certificate, to transfer certificate. It is a holistic, it's a life cycle of the student from entry to exit level. So education is more like a system, and academics is more, it is intellectual rigor. So when you people in higher education are there, quite often you should take a call whether you want to become an academician in your life or you want to become an educationist. If you want to become an educationist, you should become HOD, you should become timetable in charge, you should become dean, you should become vice chancellors, etc., etc. You may do registrar's function as well. But if you are an academician, you are purely involved in curriculum making, you are involved in research paper writing, you are attending conferences, workshops. That is what is academics. So academics is very individual oriented. It is very, intellectual rigor oriented. It is inwardly looking, whereas education has multiple stakeholders. It is a system. It is outwardly looking. So there's a lot of difference between academics and education, which generally people do not try to find out. So this was one thing which I thought before we get into the subject matter we can talk about. Another thing, very often I wonder, in fact, when I got into education, I used to wonder that if somebody has done MA in English and then goes for doctorate, higher education, that person is called PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. Another person who has done MSc Botany, again, that person doing higher education is called Doctor of Philosophy. You have done MTech, again, you become Doctor of Philosophy. So all these guys, why this person is not Doctor of English or Doctor of Botany or Doctor of Engineering, why are they all called Doctor of Philosophy? So what is the reason that this degree is called Doctor of Philosophy? So can any one of you tell me what is the reason that this highest degree is called Doctor of Philosophy? Why this degree is called Doctor of Philosophy? Yeah. Yes, Dr. Arun. Dr. Arun has raised the hand. Can he be unmuted?
Yeah. I am online, sir. Can you able to hear?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, sir. The philosophy of doctorate is to be finding out somewhat very much related towards findings. Findings, according to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's right. So finding means finding what? Yeah. How does it impact?
Finding is somewhat useful for the education, or otherwise it will be social benefit to our society. That's the thing.
You see, doctor is a Latin word, means teaching, teacher. Doctor means teaching, and philosophy is love of wisdom, love of knowledge. So it is the quest of knowledge. When you go for the quest of knowledge, you use tools of philosophy, which are tools of inquiry. You use what is called logic, deductive logic, inductive logic, etc. And that is where you form a hypothesis to be able to find out a new thing out of your PhD thesis. So when we get PhD thesis for examination, we are clearly told to find out, is there any additional thing which has been brought out in this thesis, or is there a new interpretation of the existing knowledge? So this is the purpose. So this is what is creation of knowledge. And that is why this degree is more process, and it is methodology based degree rather than content based degree. That is why this is commonly called Doctor of Philosophy. Can we go to the next slide, please, Mohit?
Yes,
last slide. Please read out.
What is the difference between education and academics? So education as a concept is holistic. it is a system that begins with admissions and comprises of classes, examinations, registration, enrollments, timetable, hostel, convocation to migration certificate and transfer certificate. Academics, on the other hand, deals with curriculum, conference papers, research papers, and scholarship. Education may be viewed as a system having multiple stakeholders, whereas academics requires intellectual stimulus and rigor.
So we can close this particular presentation, and I would invite questions till the time we have had discussion on this. Then we'll go on to the next presentation. Any questions about the education scenario in the country? Anybody would like to ask any questions on higher education system in our country? Any question?
I think, Dr. Saab, your slides have been so self-depicting of the data and the details, and the participants are already they're so with clarity and with they are self-explanatory.
Ma'am.
I think we could not hear it completely, but if there are no questions, we can close this presentation, and we can maybe go on to the next one.
Yes, sir. We can.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now, we are talking about basically the topic given to me and the topic of the workshop. Both are interrelated and intermingled. Can anybody explain to me what is leadership? Who is a leader? What is leadership? Mohitji, somebody has suggested in the chat box that you show the full view, slide view.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Sir, I want to say about leadership. Leadership is just the it's a quality of taking initiative. The person who is taking initiative of any problem or any kind of suggestions, that is called as a leadership quality in a person.
Wonderful. You have pointed out one great quality of leader, that is initiative, right?
Yes, sir.
Anything else anybody would like to add? Samir, Dr. Samir, you are wanting to say something?
Sir, leader is one who makes an unbiased decision and has unconditional followers before him.
Very good. So leader does not have a motive. That is one. Second is leader should have and will have followers. Otherwise, he is not a leader. Okay, very fine. Anything else?
It's a person who is a role model to others and motivates others. Who is able to motivate others to performance.
Wonderful. So two new things. One is leader should create a role model. He should be the role model. And this is very interesting because another way of looking at is, you see, there's a difference between vision and mission. So vision is where you want to reach. So leader shows you the vision. Okay. Leader shows you the path. And the manager takes you through the mission. And manager takes you through the, steps of that process. So that's the difference between a leader and a manager largely. But leader, I think the qualities you have already spoken out together, all these qualities, that is what is a leader. How is academic leadership different from other leaderships? How is academic leadership different from other leadership? Other could be corporate leadership, other could be social leadership, other could be political leadership. We're talking about academic leadership. How is it different? And is it more difficult? Anybody? You see, one of the items of discussion everywhere is industry, academia, and government collaboration. Everywhere you hear about it. And everywhere this complaint is there that government and academia do not interact, academia and industry does not interact, and those kind of complaints come. Well, what is the reason why it does not happen? Why does industry, academia, and government do not interact with each other? Why don't they collaborate? So if you go to find out the reason, it's very interesting. The mindset and the approach of all the three is very different. The government comes and talks of 3 to 5 years time frame because they have to go for election every 3 to 5 years. Industry is interested in even half yearly or even quarterly targets. So they are interested in immediate decision making and they are target oriented short-term people. And in academia, there's no hurry about decision making. In academia, all decisions are taken with consensus and everybody is free to think and talk. And the time is the casualty there. So a leader in academics has to deal with people who have to take decisions in consensus. So the style of leadership for an academician is very different from the style of leadership in political or corporate world is. So that is where leadership becomes different. Now, what is governance? What is governance?
Utilizing the resources effectively.
Is that governance or is that management? Okay, let's talk about governor of a state, for example. What is the function of a governor?
So proper administration by checking that the expected requirements are being met, and if they are not met, what are the reasons for it, and then apply necessary actions to come to a common point.
See, this gentleman who is governor is at the helm of affairs only to ensure that the constitutional provisions are followed. Right. So he is not getting into the nitty-gritty of administrative things.
Okay.
So governance is always at the top only to ensure that the broader objectives and goals are being followed. And there's no, divergence from that. So broadly, that is what is governance.
Overall responsibility. Overall responsibility.
Yeah, overall superintendence, control, governance, direction, everything comes from what may be called as board of directors, board of governors, or people who are in charge of governance are at the broadest level ensuring that the goals are being met within the given framework. That is what is governance. So within the given framework is very important. In the case of country, it is constitution. That's the given framework. So governance becomes very important. And in the case of academics, what would governance mean? Let's take case of Delhi University. What would governance mean? What would it entail?
Ensure that things are going on properly. Ensuring that things are going on properly.
Very right. What would it include?
So checking that the stakeholders are in synchronization with the system requirement, probably the interaction between the different stakeholders, setting up the system and processes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So it is basically interplay between the stakeholders, again, looking at the larger picture. For example, recruitment of the, for example, appointment of
coordination,
the Vice Chancellor. Okay, that should be the job of Board of Governors or the governance. Okay, ensuring that the government policies are being followed in, in spirit and word both. And as you rightly said, as Dr. Aditi rightly said, the interplay of stakeholders' interest. These are the things which the governance in the academic world would take into account. Most importantly, the stakeholders being students and teachers. So when it comes to students, are the students getting the facility? The fees is not improper or is very expensive. Facilities are not very expensive. They are getting the facilities which they are entitled to. What is the quality of education students are getting? So this is the job of the governance to ensure that all this is happening. As far as students are concerned, teachers, is the promotion policy and those kind of things. Hopefully there should be no strikes and there should be no discontent. And it is not that last 20 years, no promotions have taken place, or last 15 years, no recruitment has taken place. So this is the job of the governance, to ensure that these kind of things move in synchronization. That is what is governance. So having discussed what is leadership and governance, let us go to the next slide. Mohitji, let us go to the next slide. Now, half the challenges and problems in academic administration, they come from leadership and governance itself. I mean, this is very true. So when we will be discussing these things in detail, I think every time more or less we will have to get back to the issue of leadership and governance, fortunately, unfortunately. Go to the next slide. Now, these are some of the terms which I thought we should understand in perspective. Academic, we have already discussed. So we are here talking about institutions which are higher education institutions. HEI, that is the term used frequently in New National Education Policy, NEP 2020, HEI. So academic is a word used in the context of 99% of the times only in case of higher education and rest of the time with school education. The next item is institutes, because that was the title. So what do you understand by what is an institute? And what is the difference between an institute and an institution? What is an institute? What is an institution?
IT team to unmute the person.
Could you speak loudly? We're not able to hear you.
IT team, please unmute the person who have raised their hands.
You're not audible. Yeah, Dr. Natarajan.
Sir, it looks same, both institute and institution for me.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me give you the difference.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
What is marriage is an institution. Marriage is not an institute. So I've given you a clue. Now, can you tell me the difference between an institution and an institute? What is the difference between an organization and an institution? Yes, Dr. Harikesh.
Yes, sir. Sir, organization can be any industry also, firm which is working for some objective. An institute is having objective with respect to education, as for my vision or perspective.
Yeah, actually, those terms are quite often interchangeably used also, but there can be organizations which may not have an objective and a purpose, but the institution cannot be without an objective and purpose. So basically, the defining point, differentiating point is purpose and objective largely. Not that organizations may not have, they may also have purpose or objective. So that is where the terms are interchangeably used, but quite often institution is not without purpose. Okay. So for example, I gave you the example of marriage. Marriage is an institution, but marriage is not an organization. Marriage cannot be an organization. And if what you call an institution, if it is given a physical pace, a physical space and physical shape, then it becomes an institute. Okay. So institute is a physical body. Institution is a concept. So that could be one way of looking at. Not necessarily what I'm saying is 100% definition, but this is a perspective which I'm just sharing. Okay. So we are talking about institutions of higher education in this country. Okay. Now, what is a university? What is the meaning of the word university? What is a university? Yeah, somebody raised hand. Yes, Dr. Harikesh.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, university is a body who will govern all such institutes to well establish their policies, and are they following their vision or not, like that.
That's interesting. You used the word policy. So let me first talk about the word policy. What is policy?
So policy, that means if any institute is defining any vision, so to get that vision, what kind of policies they have defined in their institute under that university, or university itself, what kind of policies are defining to fulfill the objective of that in university or institute.
Now my question is, what is the policy?
Policies are set of rules and regulations.
Okay, if policy is a set of rules and regulation, then what is the difference between policy and rules and regulations?
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, universities are capable of granting maybe degrees, and also they can offer teaching, maybe some research or 100% research.
Very good. The word university has come out of the word universal. Okay. So, and the word universal means it is for everybody. So one of the things which even in olden days, Takshila, Nalanda, and even very old universities, anybody and everybody was acceptable as a student, number one. Number two, they were granted free passage. Nobody attacked them. There were no charges, no taxes on the way. and students were, universities were always taken off and away from politics and aggressions. Okay, so universality was the keyword on one hand about getting the kind of freedom to the student and the travel, etc. The other side was multidisciplinarity. So there has to be multidisciplinarity and interplay of disciplines in a university. That was the spirit of the word university. Unfortunately, over a period of time, we have had, technical university and this sports university and this university and that university. But national education policy is very clear that you will have to have multidisciplinary in every single university. And as somebody just now said very rightly, the legal meaning of the word university is degree granting institution, full stop. University is a degree granting institution, full stop. Okay, so one was philosophical meaning, that universality is there, multidisciplinarity is there, all are welcome, there should be interplay of various disciplines. And on the other side, the legal meaning of the word university is degree granting institution. So that is the spirit in which the word, institution we have been talking about, and the word university we have been talking about. But my question, what is the policy, still remains unanswered, which somebody put up the, the term policy, and that has not been answered. What is policy? Tell me. And somebody also used the terms rule and regulation. I want to know from you guys if you know the difference between a rule and a regulation and a statute and an ordinance and an act.
So policy should be something in line with the vision. What
should be is not we are talking.
It is in line with the vision, the policy of the institute.
Policy should be in line with the vision. That is very true.
It may
but what
not
is the
be
policy?
rule.
What is the policy? Basic question is not answered. What is the policy? Now, let me give you an example. If political parties go to fight election, which is happening even now, what do they go with? What do they take it to the people when they fight the election? What is that document called? The document which a political party takes to the people?
Manifesto.
Very good. It's called manifesto. What is a manifesto?
It is a guidelines upon which they will be following.
As teacher, please don't use wrong words.
Manifesto is the.
Manifesto is, yeah. Manifesto is. Manifesto is a set of promises
which has been drawn, the self written mandate, which is going to be followed by the political parties.
Manifesto is a set of promises. We will do this, we will do that, we will do this, we will do that. Right?
No surety of implementation.
No, forget about implementation. It's a set of promises. Manifesto is a set of promises. Is that right or no?
Proposed.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. Now,
whatever things are proposed by somebody.
Okay, now you have won the election. Now you form the government. Okay. Now you have to convert those promises into action. Okay. For example, you said that within 100 days, you will come out with a new education policy. Now, this was a 2014 manifesto of NDA government. Okay. Now, what do? You have to convert this promise into action. How do you convert that? How do you convert that? How do you convert promise into action? You make a policy. Now, in one sentence, if I have to tell you what is a policy, policy is a statement of intent. Policy is a statement of intention. Okay? It is not a set of rules and regulations. Policy is a statement of intention. So National Education Policy 2020 is a statement of intentions. It is not rules and regulations. It is not guidelines. It is not statutes. It is not law. Now, in order to have the policy converted into action, then you need institutions, then you need laws, then you need rules and regulations. And that is how the policy will be ultimately implemented. And for implemented, you need institutions. For example, UGC is an institution, AICT is an institution. These are institutions. These are the institutions which will get the policy implemented. So it is a framework which has come from manifesto, got converted into policy, policy got converted into action through rules, regulations, and institutions. I hope my point is clear on this. I hope it's clear. Yeah, Dr. Harikesh, you raised your hand. Yeah, please. Doctor.
Yes, sir. Thank you for sir clearing these words for myself. It is very.
Let me take you to the next level. For example, honesty is the best policy. Okay.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Honesty is the best policy. No, there are no guidelines. There's no nothing. It's my statement of intention. I intend to be honest. So honesty is the best policy. So I take you to the next level, rules. My rule is I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay. That's my personal rule. What is the regulation? Any example of regulation? Any example of regulation? The word regulation? You see, when you drive on a highway.
Academic example is some 2020 regulation, something like that. Some directions to students regarding syllabus and other things.
Yeah, which regulation are you talking about in particular?
With respect to institutions, we follow 2012 regulation, 2020 regulation, like that we will have. So we then and there will improve our curriculum. After that, it will be called another regulation like that.
All right. So regulation is when it applies to a group of people, that's called regulation. For example, you're driving on a highway and there's a speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum speed limit allowed. Now this is regulation. This is not a rule. This is not a law. And this regulation is within the Motor Vehicle Act or whatever act. Okay. So regulation is a subset of an act or a law. And it is above rule. So rule could be personal. Regulation is always for a group of students. For example, your examination related the regulations in your university. These are regulations. All right. These are regulations. And the next higher level is what could be called as an act or enactment. So whichever institutions you belong to, please always go and read the act of that entity where you are serving, and that will give you a fairly good idea. From there you get down and you get to know things like ordinances. For example, PhD ordinances. Now what does that ordinances means? All rules, regulations relating to PhD scholars, all put together at one place is called PhD ordinances. So it is collection of rules, regulations, forms, everything put in one place is called ordinances, which is again based on the act which has empowered the authority to create that ordinance. I hope that is clear again. Rules, regulations, ordinances. I hope that's clear. All right. Now we move to the next one. What are the challenges which are being faced by the academic institutions? To my mind, if I were to understand the issue, I would always prefer to go from macro to micro. Now, if we go macro to micro, which is the highest body in our country on education? The highest body of education, highest institution for education in our country. A lot of people are writing AICTE. I don't think that is correct. The highest body is Ministry of Education. Now, it's very interesting. Yesterday only I was giving a talk somewhere and we were talking about HRD. And I said in 1986, this ministry, which was Ministry of Education, became Ministry of HRD, Human Resource Development. And it has taken us 35 years to change it to Ministry of Education. And a lot of people don't know the background. When Rajiv Gandhi fought his election, in the manifesto, he promised to merge the ministries having synergies. So possibly he would have thought of merging Ministry of Social Welfare, Ministry of Employment, Ministry of Labor, and related Ministry of Social Welfare all into one and calling it Ministry of Human Resource Development. But when he became Prime Minister, he could not do it because the bureaucrats will not let him do it. And finally, the name only got changed and nothing has changed. It still remained Ministry of Education. Same thing happened in 2014. When Narendra Modi fought the election, he also promised to merge the ministries having synergies. He could and he did merge a couple of them, but not most of them which were expected to be merged because bureaucracy is too strong in our country. Anyways, so the highest body in our country in this regard is Ministry of Education. Within Ministry of Education, which is the highest body, if any of you knows about it? It's not UGC, it is within Ministry of Education. UGC and AICTE certainly are the higher level bodies, but they are part of the system very interestingly. But the highest level body within Ministry of Education is called CABE, Central Advisory Board of Education, CABE, which is chaired by the Cabinet Minister of Education in our country. So CABE is something which as per NEP 2020 has to be reconstituted. And this report was submitted in 2019 and the policy is announced in July 2020. And we are sitting now in 2022. And CABE has not been reconstituted as yet. Now that is a challenge. So I would put that in the category of a challenge at the highest level. Now Kasturi Rangan report, Dr. Kasturi Rangan was, Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan was the man who was given the job of heading the committee to make national education policy. He had very clearly written in his report, it is a 484-page report. He had very clearly written that UGC and AICTE should be dismantled completely. Okay, but end of the day, that has not happened. He had suggested a few other alternatives, independent 4 autonomous bodies. So, but when the final report has come, changed report, 66 pages, declared in July 2020, they have not dismantled AICTE and UGC, but they have given an alternate arrangement by having another regulatory body. So that is again a challenge. Now that means they will have to form a law which will be in the shape of a bill, which will be in the shape of a draft bill, which will go for discussion and debate. Then only a new law will be formed to create those new institutions of regulation and governance. That is the challenge at the macro level. Okay, that is yet another challenge. Then if you know, education is a concurrent subject in our constitution. So it belongs to center as well as to the state. Now the challenge is, in the policy they have written that they will come out with a draft policy which will be an overarching enactment, whereas all state government universities will have a similar legal provisions. Today in Haryana, it is very different from Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand is very different from Karnataka. So each state has its own, policy. I am talking about the state private universities bills and acts. These are different. Haryana is very different from Punjab. Punjab is different from Uttarakhand, from Delhi. So this is going to be uniform. Now there's a lot of opposition. People say that federalism has been hit because they're taking away the right of the state governments. That is a challenge. So there are a number of challenges, including coordination to be done between the school education and college education and university education. Yesterday only, the new chairman of UGC has announced that 900 autonomous degree colleges are going to be granted permission to give online education, online degree, which was not the case. Only universities were allowed. Now they are going to allow 900 colleges. So a lot of things are happening at different level, different type of challenges are there, different types of problems are there. Now, if we talk about challenges at the college level, at the university level, the challenge is you don't get teachers. You don't get PhDs. In certain disciplines, you just don't get PhDs. For example, architecture. For example, law. It's very difficult. For example, even medicine. It's very difficult to get PhDs. In certain areas, there is too much oversupply of PhDs, for example, in humanities and in pure sciences. So the challenges are very different. Somewhere it is short supply, somewhere it is oversupply. Quality is a challenge. Teachers' policies of recruitment is a challenge. Teachers' promotion policy is a challenge. Fees is a challenge. Students' hostel, residential accommodation is a challenge. These are all challenges. When we come to problems, there are plenty of problems, and the problems relate largely to funding. Funding is a major issue. Government of India has been claiming for quite some time of wanting to spend 6% of GDP for education. And the fact of the matter is it has been hovering around between 3 and 4% of GDP. And your education budget is just not going up. So funding is a major problem. The second problem, which I have noticed in NEP, they have not talked about special status being given to institutions of national importance. Now, what is the institution of national importance? IITs, IIMs, AIMS, School of Planning and Architecture, all these NITs, these are all some 5 triple ITs. All these have been declared institutions of national importance. What does Institute of National Importance mean? It means it is not within the purview of AICT or UGC. It is governed directly by Government of India, and they get very good funding. Now, NEP is silent about it. NEP does not talk separate governance model for them, separate funding model for them. Yet, in some clauses, 2-3 places, it has made a mention that MERUs will be created. MERU is Multidisciplinary Education and Research University. Multidisciplinary Education and Research University. So it is like model universities Government of India will make. Will be like IITs. They're using the word will be like IITs. No, this is a contradictory thing. On one side, you're not making provision for them to be treated separately. On the other hand, you're quoting those kind of institutions. That is again a major problem or challenge. So there are multiple issues, multiple problems. And finally, what is an administration? What is an administration? Yes, Dr. Harikesh.
Sir, does it operational management? Because administration is governing all the operationals, all the execution of process.
Very good. I think you made a very
planned at any institute.
You made a very valid point, and why I wrote it here is because there's a lot of misunderstanding between the terms management and the terms administration. Now, management is a term which is very commonly used in the corporate world and not in the government scenario. In the government, if you go to civil services and if you go to any kind of things, they'll use the word district administration and they'll use the word state administration. So administration is responsible for operational delivery. You're absolutely right. I'm 100% with you. So here the issues faced by the administration relate to various stakeholders, and the stakeholders could be students, teachers, parents. Stakeholders could be society, the government, and academic institutions face enormous number of challenges and problems from various stakeholders. Now, because we are running short of time, I think I will take 1 or 2 questions from the participants, which I'll be very happy to answer. 1, 2, whatever number of questions Chanchal Madam will allow me to take. You're not audible, sorry. Any questions from the participants? So, madam, if there are no questions, you can thank me and we can close.
Thank you, Professor Saab. Thank you very much. Actually, the questions which I feel are not there because your session was so self-depicting and full of information and data points. So you have actually, satisfied our queries before we asked. So I would like to personally thank you for such a wonderful and brainstorming session. I would call it a brainstorming session because you have made us all active and you have beautifully sensitized the participants regarding the challenges in the administration. Vis-a-vis, you have also, make us aware of our legacy of higher education system at various time intervals across the world, not in India, across the world. And also you have, connected us with the glorious past of our higher education system, its evolution process and vast expansion, and such a details with statistical data points. You have also provided a clarity and insight. I think participant must agree with me that for the first time we have got so clarity and insight on important concept of higher education system, which and that is true by learning by doing. We have been always saying that learning by doing, and you have actually inculcated in us that by asking various queries, questions, and making us alive. Okay, a part of the presentation, and I'm sure that all our participants must have been benefited from your pearls of wisdom, sir. I personally feel that it is one of the rarest session I have attended till now. And I would like to request Professor Rishipalji and I would SVSU team, SVSU leadership to bless us with more and more interaction with you so that we have, we can also develop and train ourselves and, we can sharpen our skills of higher education system with the actual strength within the system. Thank you, sir. I'm really thankful that you have spared time from your busy schedule. Looking forward to have more and more sessions and interaction with you in future.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Professor Rishipalji. He is the convener of this 5 days workshop, and he is the Dean Pedagogy and Capacity Building, one of its own kind of faculty here in Shri Vishwakarma Skill University. Professor Rishi Palji.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. And really, it was very interesting session. And not only interesting, it was value adding. And the topic given to Prof. Saab was challenges and problems, and how effectively he has given the brief about what we had been in past and how gradually we evolved out, and then what happened, and then what is our present status. That could give a clear-cut picture to the people, those who are sitting before us and who are expected to be the leaders of future. And if they will understand all that, if they will understand the challenges, and if they will have knowledge of various concepts, which all has been covered up appropriately by Professor Vinay Nangiaji. Sir, we are really thankful to you. And yes, this session is going to contribute wonderfully, and it will add value to the existing stuff, which is going to be the leaders for future. So I extend my heartfelt thanks, being convener of this workshop on behalf of my university, my Vice Chancellor, and we shall be in touch, and we shall be organizing more programs. I had been in touch with you at Delhi University also, and thank you very much. And
thank you, sir.
Thanks to all the participants for their patient listening, participation, interaction, and all that. And only then the sessions become fruitful, useful, and whatever discussion we are having, that used to become the permanent part of our knowledge. So I'm thankful to all, and I'm thankful to Chanchal madam with her team, Pallavi, Dr. Mohit, Dr. Ravinder, and all those who are involved in the organization. And thank you very much. Thank you, sir. And for the participant, I am expecting that each and everyone has marked their attendance in all the sessions, starting from inaugural session, then the second session, and this last third session for the day. And my request to all, please join the session tomorrow 10 minutes before. And this I am sharing on the behalf of Chanchal madam, because she is taking care of all that, and she is wonderfully taking care of that. So in the morning, in an inaugural session, it was wonderful. The team of Chanchal madam and Dr. Indu and Pallavi, all they did it wonderfully, and Dr. Mohit and his team is also. So thank you very much. मिलते हैं कल फिर एक बार दोबारा अपने निश्चित समय से 10 मिनट पहले, जिससे कि हम आराम से, और I assure all of you, I'm going to bring very wonderful resource persons for you. I have chosen people from all over India, and they are having wonderful experience specifically with respect to the leadership and governance. So thank you again. Thank you very much. Thanks to the whole organizing IT team and everyone.
Thank you, sir. All participants are requested to join us on the same link tomorrow at 9:50 positively. Thank you.